Good evening and welcome to Christmas. Welcome to SSUC. We're excited that we can celebrate as community here together tonight with family, new and old, with friends, new and old, with strangers we meet tonight in this circle. We work diligently to make this a safer place for all people. Whenever we gather in this circle, all are welcome, all ages, all sizes, all abilities, all genders, all sexualities, all cultures, all religions, or none. We welcome all of you here tonight. On a festive night like this, we acknowledge the importance of our past, our memories, the legacy that we've been given in Christmases past and present. And that legacy extends too to the sacredness of this land that we're on tonight. Ancestral land of the indigenous people of Treaty 6, the adopted homeland to many, and we celebrate honoring our place in and our respectful relationships and traditions that we inherit. Join us now as we center ourselves with words we might all speak to move us fully into this night and this time together. In the darkness of winter night, we celebrate the wonder of new births. With old traditions and new, we honor the spirit of the season. Together and alone, with community and in solitude, may we be inspired by the power and wonder of love and light. In the midst of song and stories, peace and compassion. Throughout the evening tonight, we'll be singing some old familiar tunes, some carols. Some of the words aren't what we've grown up singing. And we invite you, though, to sing whatever you are familiar with and are comfortable with. Whatever is meaningful to you, we should sing. But we encourage us to sing regardless of the words, not to reinforce the old stories and interpretations that fit a distant time, but that we might sing and experience tonight to find new meaning in our celebrations, fit for our lives and our living today. So as we welcome each other with song to Christmas, let's sing.
There are so many ways to pray. If we breathe, we pray. Our lives are a prayer. And to live by intention rather than by accident, we take time, in this time in which we're gathered, to focus our intentions and to seek to strengthen those intentions, to live in ways that honor the highest of our humanity, the best of our spirits. And so in that spirit, I invite us to offer these words together as a way of strengthening our intentions to live the values we cherish. We gather in this night to celebrate value and meaning within this ancient celebration of Christmas. As we honor this great festival of light, may we cultivate an open heart and generous spirit. May we have ears for the songs of peace. May we have eyes for the wonders of the universe. And may we discover within us a traveler's heart, intent on creating a world of hope and love, of justice and joy that this celebration inspires. May it be so. Over these December weeks, we have been lighting our way towards this night. We have each week, from the beginning of December, been lighting a candle for hopefulness. For holding the spaces of possibility with such care with one another. Spaces where the flame can find its way. In the second week in Advent, we lit a candle for compassion, acknowledging that we live in a world that is often cruel and unkind, and we seek to live in ways that celebrate and honor compassion with one another. In the third week towards this season, we lit a candle for hospitality, recognizing that the story we celebrate this night is a story in which individuals came seeking shelter and found hospitality among strangers, just as those still come to us in this country, in this city, seeking hospitality. And we lit a candle for joy, recognizing that joy is often found in the small and insignificant, mundane and ordinary places in our lives. And tonight we light our Christmas candle that we might spark hope, love, joy, and peace with one another in this night and in every night.
Flickering light December, making memories that last. In the candlelight, such a true and brilliant sight, see the flame burn, a light that shines for unity. In the candle glow, now we want the world to know, the traditions and symbols of our history. In the candlelight we remember, in the flame we see our past, in the flickering lights of December, making memories that last. In the candlelight, feel the stillness of the night. In the
It's time for something we call a time for all ages. This is a time that we gather and tell a story, and anyone who wants to come closer and hear this story is welcome. We've got a carpet. You're welcome to come. Parents and friends are allowed to come too. You can drag them along if you like. Mom. There was a spare spot on the carpet, right? That's great. Perfect. We have a chance to be together on Christmas Eve, and that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And the candles have been lit. They're glowing. There's lots of lights around here. When we go down the street, we see houses lit up with lights at Christmas time. So many lights to celebrate this season. And what happens if all the lights went out? Well, I have a story about that. It's called The Star Tree, and I want to share this with you. It's written and illustrated by Gisela Kola. In a little house in a big city, there once lived a very old man. He'd lived in this house for as long as he could remember. He'd watched the city grow bigger and bigger, seen it swallow up parks and gardens, seen skyscrapers come up and supermarkets sprawl. The people who lived in the skyscrapers knew nothing of the old man. Most of them didn't even know each other. Every morning they hurried off to work, and at night they came home exhausted. They let whole days go by without once looking up at the sky. One winter night, a few days before Christmas, the old man sat in his little house thinking sadly of Christmases that he remembered. In those days, friends and family gathered around the stove to tell stories and sing carols, and the children would make gold stars and hang them in the windows to welcome visitors. The old man thought that he still had a roll of gold paper somewhere in the house. He searched in cupboards and drawers until at last he found it. He picked up a pair of scissors and cut out a star, and then another, and then another. And then he stood up and went to the window. The old man looked out at the Christmas decorations hung across the streets, and he sighed. Would anyone notice his paper stars? There were so many lights, he thought maybe they wouldn't get noticed. So he decided to take the stars out into the country where it was darker and his stars would show up better, reflecting the gentle light of the moon. Outside, the wind was rising. It whipped up the ends of the old man's scarf and scattered some of his stars. In the city, the wind rattled and ripped the Christmas decorations. And then that wind tore down the power lines. And all the lights went out. And the loudspeakers stopped blaring their Christmas songs. And the city was silent and dark. The old man walked through the silent streets, past the tall buildings, past the darkened windows and locked doors. Darkness and silence were new and strange to the people of the city. They huddled indoors. They were a bit afraid to go outside. The old man walked on and on, out of the city, across the fields, and up the highest hill. As he reached the top, the storm began to lose power, and then at last the wind drove the clouds away, and a huge December moon appeared in the sky. That's kind of like outside right now. Have you seen the huge December moon? It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. You can't see without a moon, but if the moon is bright and shining, you can see a little bit. It's quite bright. Where was I? All the children looked out their windows and saw a figure outlined against the moon. Look, cried the children. There's a man with a trail of gold at his feet. It is weird. They were so glad to see a light that they took their children by the hand and led them out of the city. They walked over the silent snow-covered fields and up the hill. When they reached the top, they saw the old man hanging gold stars on a tree. The stars twinkled in the moonlight and cast a golden glow on the bare branches and the snow beneath. Everyone stopped and stared in wonderment. Then one of the children began to sing a Christmas carol, quietly at first, then louder as the others joined in. And the old man turned around when he heard the singing. Some starlight will always bring a spirit of Christmas, he said, and he began to sing too. Then the old man took the rest of the stars from his basket and gave one to each of the children. He was happy to share once more the simple light of Christmas. The children carried the stars back into the city, and they hung them in their windows, and other children saw the stars and made some of their own. And soon, the whole city shone with the glow of Christmas stars. That's the star tree. Hopefully our power doesn't go out. If it did, we have candles. But you know what? There's something very special about light and the stars and the moon if we remember to look up into the sky and see it. I don't know if we can see it tonight or not, but when you go out of the building tonight, you'll have to look up and see if you see stars, see if you see that moon. And we thought that it would be lovely for you, while we sing the next song, to go over to that Christmas tree over there and take a gold star so that you can remember this story and the importance of light and stars and looking up. So let's sing a song, and please take a gold star home and hang it wherever you like. Let's hear a telling of the Christmas story taken from Matthew chapter 1. Joseph was engaged to a woman named Mary when he discovered that she was expecting a child. As he considered his options, an angel came to Joseph in a dream and said, "Joseph, son of David, don't be afraid to take Mary to be your wife. She will give birth to a son, and you'll name him Jesus, for he will deliver his people from their oppression." When Joseph awoke, he decided to proceed with his marriage plans. After they were married, Jesus was born in Bethlehem during the time when Herod was king. Sometime later, those who studied stars came from the east. They asked at the palaces, "Where is this baby born to be a king? For we've seen a star, and we've come to honor him." After consulting his advisors, King Herod sent them to Bethlehem. Along the way, they saw the star again, and it went ahead of them until they arrived at the place where the child was staying. When they went into the house, they saw the child with his mother, Mary. They knelt down, offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And after being warned in a dream of the coming dangers, the Magi returned home by another way. This is part of the legend of the birth of Jesus, passed down to us from the writings of the first century. Wisdom for our living.
From the words of the poet Mary Oliver in her poem, What I've Learned So Far. Meditation is old and honorable. So why should I not sit every morning of my life on the hillside looking into the shining world? Because properly attended to, delight as well as havoc is suggestion. Can one be passionate about the just, the ideal, the sublime, and the holy, and yet commit to no labor in its cause? I don't think so. All summations have a beginning. All effect has a story. All kindness begins with the sown seed. Thought buds toward radiance. The gospel of light is the crossroads of indolence or action. So be ignited or be gone. In these words and images of an inspiring poet.
There's been a movie in the theaters lately called A Star is Born. It's a remake of a remake of a remake. This movie musical is a story of a young undiscovered talent taken under the wing of a seasoned and troubled singer. But if I had to write a screenplay for a movie called A Star is Born, it would go like this. Opening scene. Dust and gas. In dark clouds begin collapsing on themselves. The pressure of such energy and force pushing and pulling that the hydrogen atoms in the collapsing cloud begin to fuse together, creating enormous amounts of heat and light, until suddenly a massive explosion, a star is born. I don't think any studio is looking to make that movie. But if we were to follow that story, we'd follow the light from the burning gases as it takes its journey. Moving through the vacuum of space, traveling as far and as long as anybody could imagine or quantify. The light that we see from our sun star is 8 minutes old. That's a quick trip for light. From the light of our sun to travel to our small third planet, only 8 minutes to get to our eyeballs. But when we ponder the other stars in our night sky, the ones we see when we look up, those furthest ones that sparkle at us through pinpricks in the dark blanket of sky, those twinkles are tens of thousands, even millions of years old. That's some old light. That's some brilliance that has, in some cases, outlasted their existence. The stars that created the light we are seeing, some of them don't exist anymore. It's something to think about when we look up and to be in simple awe and wonder. As writer Alan Moore has put it, all we ever see of distant stars are their old photographs. Tonight, in this season of stars, we can recognize our connection and solidarity with our cosmic cousins. That we too begin in darkness, in pressure, in mystery, are transformed and birthed into brilliant light, who then make our journey and shine into our own future places and distances we could hardly imagine, or that our parents could hardly imagine. So let's take wisdom from these ancestors of ours as we recognize that we all shine with a light that goes beyond our imagination, beyond our own dreaming, beyond our own expectation. We look at the lives of great spiritual leaders the world over, and my list might be different than yours, but we think of Jesus, we think of the Buddha, we think of Muhammad, the Dalai Lama, countless others. And we celebrate different things in each of them, but we celebrate some form of their awakening, their enlightenment, their kind of spiritual knowing, some insight, some new way of being that they've discovered, a moment in time that can often be pinpointed to some moment in their lives that their meaningful work and their valuable contributions to humankind begun. But this awareness, this spark, it's not just reserved for the gurus and masters. For each of us, we can all identify moments in our lives when we've seen what we once didn't. When we can identify those times when we've been able to see with new eyes, ask new questions about how we'll live in this newly lit world. Moments when insight has brought us to a new path. If not yet, then perhaps we soon will. We all know this journey of light and wisdom because the light, like that of the stars, emanates not onto us, but from right here within us. So we told the Christmas story tonight. Light, again, reprises its marquee role in the Christmas story, the light of a star that leads a group of star watchers to the locale where a child is born. The star this time plays the part as imagined by our storytellers as mystic tour guide. That's what it said on the casting call that the star responded to. Celestial usher, bringing peasants and royalty alike to focus attention on what's most important. I think the tellers of this story would like us to know that a star, as if a single spotlight written into the script, is showing us that light is at play in this story. The star says to us, look how in the midst of this ordinary, poor child born into nothing scenario, there's light to be found. What does this family have to celebrate, really? They're off on some cockamamie journey, started by some emperor on his throne saying everyone should go everywhere. And then they give birth when there's no place to do it. No people they know. This poor family stuck in a barn. And yet, light's at play, the star says to us. Light is at play in finding a reason to rejoice in new life, regardless of where and when it's happening. In the midst of not much, there can be hope for everything. The light's already there, as the light is already here within each of us. That Christmas star reminds us that rather than passively waiting for light to appear, we are actually a source and power plant of this light. We're illuminated from within. The poet tonight speaks to us of the importance and power of this light we all find. She writes, "Can one be passionate about the just, the ideal, the sublime, and the holy, and yet commit no labor in its cause? I don't think so." If thought buds toward radiance, imagine that. Thought that buds, that transforms into radiance. That the gospel of light, as she says, is the crossroads of one of two things: indolence or action. So be ignited or be gone. The same might be said of our in-law star cousins: be ignited or be gone. It's a fitting way to consider the true light of our existence isn't our sun star 8 minutes away. It's that which is created and lived right here every day, born in each child, born in each of us on our slow burn through this life. And like the light of a star that travels its course for a few star watchers, inspires a Western journey. It inspired something. We know the existence of light by the response it inspires. Radiance is good. A star is good. Light is good. But if it inspires no vision, no seeing, if it doesn't do us any good, then It might as well not be there. If it were extinguished, if the light in us were extinguished, would anyone notice? This is the powerful question of the Christmas star. So, like all those in the story who saw the star, we either have a choice of doing nothing or doing something. The shepherds, they could do something or stay in the field. The Magi, those wise ones, they could do something or they could have stayed in their astronomy towers. Like all the great lights of our lives and spiritual traditions who saw something new, who ignited a new way, who saw and lived a radical and inclusive love, they reoriented their lives, and their glow has the power to reorient ours. Be ignited or be gone. That's an apt reminder at Christmas that the work of Christmas is never done. It doesn't just happen to us. Just as a new baby doesn't come with an operating manual or an FAQ document, it'd be nice if they did. The work of creating a world of peace, compassion, and love doesn't just happen because we put up a tree and sing a few fa-la-las. It's all about the choices we make. It's the difference between leaning toward division and anger or toward love and patience. It's the difference between being satisfied with indifference and self-interest or working toward the values of commitment and compassion. A very wise woman who is a poet and musician has said this: when you reach for the stars, you're reaching for the loftiest and best things out there. When you reach deep into yourself, it's the same thing, but in the opposite direction. If you reach in both directions, you will have spanned the universe. We're gathered tonight by the light of an ancient story, coming to celebrate that light is born into us each and every moment. Not just tonight. That we can say Christmas happens every day, if it's light being born within us. We come here tonight to celebrate that we possess the power and responsibility to create this light in each opportunity we have, in the work of living, to see it in each other, to be ignited into action. So although Christmas might start with a star, it ends in the light we find within us and all around us, the light we create and the light we cast. Light that if we live well, will outshine us, will outlast the source. May we be inspired this Christmas to allow our inner light to burst out of us into radiance, that we might ignite the world tonight and every night. May it be so, in so many ways.
Each Christmas Eve, we have an opportunity to help provide more comfort and some joy to some of Edmonton's neediest individuals. Each year, we participate in the No Room in the Inn campaign, which is always in support of a project related to housing and shelter. This year, our Christmas Eve offerings will support the youth empowerment and support services, yes, previously known as the Youth Emergency Shelter, in doing some much-needed refurbishments to provide care and support and housing and shelter for homeless Edmonton youth. We invite you to contribute either by cash or by check if you wish to place your offering in the envelopes that you find near you and complete the information on it. For those gifts, we're able to issue you a tax receipt in the new year for this tax year. All of our offering tonight will be in support of the Yes project, unless otherwise indicated to be in support of SSUC. So please take this time to receive the gift of music and to support No Room in the Inn as we're able to do. 2 years ago tonight, we had the privilege of welcoming the Omar family who arrived from Syria. We welcomed Lena and Samer and their 3 children, Jawad and Yamama and Assad. Since they have been in Canada, they've also welcomed another daughter into their family, Rajava. And tonight we're delighted that they're here, and Jawad, their oldest son, would like to say a few words to us. So Jawad, I invite you to come. The sponsorship of the Omar family was a joint sponsorship with Garneau Pediatric Associates and Southminster Steinhauer United Church, and we're delighted that we've gotten to spend these 2 years with you and gotten to know you, and we want to invite you to say a few words to us tonight.
Thank you. I would like to share these words with you to say thank you to everybody who helped me and my family. I would like to say thank you to the people who have brought us to Canada and helped us. I would like to say thank you to church because my life and my family life changed in church. Because of church. After I learned read and write and talk English, I would like to say thank you to you, Lion, Donna, Maureen, Nancy, and Dawn for helping me and my family learning English and helping us. And thank you to the people who I don't know them and helped me and my family. Merry Christmas to all of you. I love you all. Have a good day. Thank you.
Sponsorship of refugee families is, this is the future of Canada, and we're doing a good thing here.
We take this time now to consider our hopes for the world, for those we love and those we have never met. We pause with our prayers, and so I invite us to bring our spirits to this moment, open to the needs of the world and our hopes and dreams for all Earth's peoples. On this storied night, we pause to ponder the traditions we cherish and the ones we're creating. We pause with memories of Christmas past and hopes for seasons yet to come. And we pause to be present, to be in the present, to all that life is in this moment, its joys and sorrows, its potential and its realities. Illumined by a story and a song, may we set aside our shopping list of grievances, let go of cynicism or resignation to the way things are, and dare to share what we have, do what we can, and be the best human we can be. We gather on this night to nourish our longing, to birth the world of our dreams where no nation occupies another. No government unfairly taxes and uproots the poor. No parent experiences desperation. No door is shut on those in need of shelter. A world where no one needs to be afraid. That fear and force would not be found in our streets, in our homes, and in our nations. Where the world's children sleep safely and securely, not in feed boxes. Where we resist being deceived into fear and incited into hatred, but bend the arc of our empathy and compassion toward the smallest kindnesses and the gentlest words that bring some peace to this earth. May we find wisdom in the stories of stars and stables tonight. May we find it in our streets and in our shelters, in the eyes of our family and friends, and in the eyes of strangers. May we find the courage to lend our light to the best of struggles and to give it to all that is worthy of honor and celebration. As those born of light and yet ever seeking it, we pray that it may be so. Amen.
The beautiful thing about light, as it dwells within us and as we create it with and for each other, is that it has a tendency to travel. And so as we pass our light tonight from one to another and grow the light among us, hopefully not just in this room, but that it be a symbol of how we grow the light in our lives, among our friends and our family, in our communities, and through the world. May we pass the light tonight, and may that be symbol for us of this Christmas and the meaning that it might shine forth. So as we pass the light, we'll sing on this night, and we'll sing on this night, and we'll sing it together in darkness.
All is
not just one light, but many to guide us on our way. Every flame of hope, every flame of love, every flame of joy and peace.
Every effort to do good, every act of kindness and justice, every one of these offers light to our world.
May we go into this night with the radiance of the courage that's shining in each of us, the courage to shine as the light of 1,000 Christmas stars.